my favorite passages in the Bible, actually, is this first reading. Because it speaks about time, eternity, finiteness, and infinity. And this is coming in this book that a lot of times looks very, very pessimistic. This is the book that says, vanity of vanities. This is the person who has searched for everything. He's tasted everything, and he just says that it's just going to fall away. There's nothing new under the sun. If you try to hold on to something, then it's just like dust chasing after the wind. And if you miss this part, then you could just kind of fall into what we call nihilism. The sense of it doesn't really matter, everything's fading away, there's no purpose, there's no meaning because everything's in flux. And you could even maybe say that with, if you look at this back and forth, and maybe sometimes we feel like we're just swinging back and forth. You know, even as a country sometimes, we sort of swing this way, and we're trying to find salvation in something other than God. We try to hold on to that, and we try to make that our God, and then it always slips through our hands. And then we react and we go to the other side, and the other side. We just keep going back and forth, and we can just get tired of that. And this author understood that tiredness. There's nothing in this world that you can truly hold on to. It will all fade away. The only thing that you can hold on to is that which is brought into this world by the very one who created it. He places the timelessness in our hearts. And that is the reality that we have within us that no other animal has, no other plant has. There's something within us that's very uncomfortable about time. Someone once said that if you look at fish, they're not uncomfortable being in the water. They're happy because that's what they were made for. They're not wanting to get out. And yet, what about us? We're not comfortable with living in time because we experience what this author says here. There's this thing and there's this thing. And you try to hold on to this thing and then it falls short, so then you have to swing to this side and this side. And there's a time for different things, but it's this time that's going back and forth. And it's because you can't hold on to any of those things that living in time can get burdensome. And we're always looking for the timeless moment. We're always looking for that perfect sunset that we encounter that captures us with such beauty. And then we look for it again, and we look for it again, and it's like hunting after the Holy Grail. We just can't seem to catch it again. Or that perfect moment with someone that you love. And you hold on to that, and you don't want that to go away, and there's a sadness when that moment just kind of slips away. You sort of feel it going away. Maybe there's an amazing vacation that you've gone on with your family, and yet there's something about the first moment it starts. It's like you're waiting and waiting for that moment to come, but then the moment it starts, there's a gradual sadness that comes, because you know that every single minute you're losing that perfect vacation. And as you go through, you have to kind of fight sometimes with this sense of trying to rest in that moment and just enjoy it. And yet there's always this haunting thing that's saying time is running out on this perfect moment. And you fight against it. And yet somehow time always wins. And you end up sad. That's because we weren't made for time. All of those things are gifts to us. These moments in which the Lord shines a little ray of His beauty, of His goodness, of His truth. And it moves our heart where it doesn't just fill us, but it actually kind of stabs us. It hurts because it goes in with such beauty, and then you try to reach for it and it's gone. And what's left is this hole, this wound of love, that beauty inflicted upon you. And you try to find things to fill that. But as you keep trying to find things to fill it, you realize that there's nothing. There's not this side of time or this side of time that will ultimately be able to fill that. There's not the time to scatter stones, the time to gather them, the time to keep, the time to cast away. And yet all of that, if you let it, if you allow the wounds to still remain open and not fill it with anything in this world, that wound gets transformed into rocket fuel that moves you, propels you to recognize what the Lord has placed in your heart, and that wound is revealing to you. You are not made for this world. You are made for something so much greater. The Lord put the timeless in your heart. He gave you an immortal spirit, an immortal soul that will never ever disappear. It will never ever vanish. And if we allow that wound of love to move us, one day we will find that which will truly fill it. Union with God in heaven. That's what our heart is made for. And that's why St. Augustine would very famously say, our hearts are restless until they rest in you. So when you have those moments where you feel like there's loss, you feel like there's the fading away, you feel like there's these moments of sadness, don't idolize the material world, because that's the temptation to say, I need something because it's so uncomfortable having this open wound. Don't hold on to something and say, well, I'm going to just numb that. Because the wound is a gift to you. The wound is actually something that helps you keep your eyes on heaven. Because if you fill it with something else, your eyes start going down from heaven, starts getting stuck in this world. And then when we do that, we see the things that are beautiful in this world, and they don't become stepping stools that lead us towards He who is all beautiful, but they become our own little idols. And we hold on to those, and we will never ever be happy with those. Let them be stepping stools. Keep the wound open, and let the Holy Spirit use the wound to pour you deeper and deeper into what your heart is really looking for.